I want you to hit me as hard as you can.
For those of you who walked out of Frozen thinking this movie needed less show tunes and more people kicking each other's asses with swords, then boy do we have the movie for you. Because this weekend, Charlize Theron and Chris Hemsworth are back to fight against the ice-cold forces of Emily Blunt in the part sequel, part prequel to Snow White and the Huntsman. The Huntsman? Winter's War. But no Kristen Stewart this time, because she banged the director of the first one, and it was a whole big thing, and I really don't fucking care. But you do have to admit, taking all these classic fairy tales and readapting them for our modern day film audience does tend to make a lot of money at the box office. Which is what led to the making of today's subject, the teenage retelling of Beauty and the Beast from 2011, known as Beastly. Yes, we all love the tale of Beauty and the Beast, a vain prince cursed with beastly features seeking the love of a merchant's daughter in order to break his hideous curse. Ever since its initial publication in France in 1740, this tale as old as time has seen many retellings. The most famous being the animated Disney classic that was the first animated flick to be nominated for a Best Picture Oscar and is getting a live-action remake next year starring Emma Watson. But CBS Films beat Disney to the punch with this live-action retelling of the story, starring another Disney icon, High School Musical star Vanessa Hudgens, and set the action among teenagers in modern-day New York City to appeal to the same lovelorn tweens who turned the Twilight series into a money-making phenomenon. Sadly, they didn't give two shits about this movie, and neither did the critics. But much like Belle, I'm here to discover the real beauty hiding underneath the supposedly ugly monstrosity of a movie. Hey, last year I saw Mirror Mirror, and I didn't think that movie was so bad, but then again, this flick doesn't have the advantage that Mirror Mirror had. And of course, I'm referring to Six-Armed Nathan Lane. And so our tale begins once upon a time in New York City, with the boy who will become our beast, Kyle Kingson, a douchey rich kid played by Alex Pettyfer, who has it all. A father who's a famous TV anchorman, obscene amounts of money, and impossibly good looks, which he uses to win his class election at a high school that is so upper class, it uses fucking computer displays.
Should you vote for me just because I'm the rich, popular, good-looking guy with a famous news anchor dad? Hell yeah!
And furthermore, I will build a wall around the cafeteria that will prevent nerds from getting in. It's gonna be huge. But his smug attitude garners the hate of the unpopular student, Kendra, played by Mary-Kate Olsen in heavy goth makeup and wigs that make her look like she's trying to beat out Rooney Mara for that part in Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Kendra also happens to be a witch, and when Kyle picks on her one time too many, she casts a spell on him that gives Kyle a strange sensation.
Dad, you are sweating like a pig.
Oh, hey man, I don't blame you. I also hallucinate images of the Olsen twins when I do too many drugs at the club. Oh, I'm tripping my balls off! No, I don't got it! I don't got it, dude! And the spell makes Kyle look as hideous outside as he is inside, and turns him into... Wait a minute, did he just turn into Deadpool?
No, you look like the inside of other people's assholes.
When Kyle's dad discovers his son's condition and doctors declare they can do nothing for him, his horrified father dumps him into an apartment of his own with their Jamaican maid. And since he can't come into school looking like if Michael Stipe became a basis for Marilyn Manson, he enlists a tutor for Kyle who just so happens to be blind, as played by Neil Patrick Harris.
Ooh, doogie.
So, in the story's tradition, Kyle must find the love of a girl before the end of the year, or forever remain looking like Freddy Krueger face-fucked a stapler. And he comes across his classmate Lindy, played by Vanessa Hudgens. One night, he discovers Lindy's drug addict dad getting in a fight with two drug dealers, at least one of them dead, in a scene that demonstrates the utter quality of the acting and writing in this movie.
Your daughter, for my brother, I'll find her. No, it's just too twisted.
That quality, of course, being shitty. And as Kyle has Lindy move in with him so she can avoid the drug dealers who want to kill her, with Kyle using another name and Lindy unable to recognize her old classmate, you realize how hilariously ill-fitting it is to turn Beauty and the Beast into a Twilight knockoff. First off, this so-called beast is really not ugly at all. Look at him. He's not ugly. He looks like the manager of a Hot Topic. This fucker has washboard abs, his own swank apartment, millions of dollars, cool tattoos, and spends 75% of this movie with no shirt on. I am sure women could grow to love this man really quick. And it's so transparent where they try to force each element of this story into a modern day teenage romance. Because why have the Beauty and the Beast finally fall in love over a lovely dance scene when you could just sit down and read poetry to each other instead? Roses are red, violets are blue, my face looks like a scrotum, and I want to have sex with you. But I can give this movie a few points over the Twilight series, in that I actually kinda sorta believe in the chemistry between its two leads. Hey look, in the never-ending crapshoot that is this movie, these two are actually pretty charming together. And I have to give the script credit for at least trying to have some smart-sounding dialogue, even though it comes off as if Aaron Sorkin wrote a show for the CW, after suffering severe brain trauma.
Being on the in isn't all that.
Isn't that what people on the out say to make each other feel better?
What?
And usually, I would be mad at a movie like this for pandering so dumbly to a teenage audience. But I have to admit, all I can do is laugh at it. And I think you will too, if you take Mary-Kate Olsen's advice at the beginning of this movie and learn to embrace the suck. Not to mention, seeing Neil Patrick Harris as a blind guy gives me a great idea. Daredevil, the musical, with Idina Menzel as Elektra and Lin-Manuel Miranda as the Punisher. Daredevil, the musical. You don't have to see it to believe it. See, because Daredevil's blind, you get it? There's one simple solution if your lover turns into an ugly beast. Just slam down some beers and put on those beer goggles after playing a round of the awfully good drinking game. Take a shot or drink every time Kyle's tree tattoo grows another flower. I'm sorry, Mary-Kate, but there's only one witch I give a shit about in the Olsen family, and her name is Elizabeth.
Boom! You just got phased.
Neil Patrick Harris forgets or remembers that he's supposed to be blind.
High school.
Kyle is spotted again without a fucking shirt.
Holy shit! Why aren't you wearing a shirt? Go put a shirt on! You look like 200 pounds of bird shit!
And take a double shot when the Jamaican maid calls Kyle a stoosh guinea gog.
You don't vex me. You stoosh guinea gog.
I went and looked this phrase up, and stoosh means rich person, while guinea gog means influential person. No insult to our Jamaican viewers, but is that really an insult? Yeah, well, guess what, asshole? You're rich, and people like you!
Oh, snap! What?
And on the nudie watch, the ladies are gonna get plenty of a shirtless Alex Pettyfer, while the men aren't gonna get diddly squat from Vanessa Hudgens.
Show us your tits!
So just Google Vanessa Hudgens cell phone leak and have yourself some fun. On the enjoyableness continuum scale from Boulder Bruce, Beastly manages to win over my heart and let the two of us live happily ever after, and turns back into a 6 out of 10. If you want an awfully good fairy tale, then be our guest! Be our guest!
Stop that! You're not going into a song while I'm here.
I'm Jesse Schaefer, JoBlo.com, and if you'll excuse me, I'm going to try and rehabilitate myself for my crippling drug addiction. It won't be easy, but I need to kick this habit. Ah! Oh, no! No, please, God, get away from me!
I broke the dinosaur!
No!